Bonjour and good morning. Moving to France was not exactly how I had imagined it to be. Have you ever dreamed of living in a slow-paced life in the heart of France? Well, I have done just that. So grab a cup of coffee and join me as I take you on a journey to my unexpected experiences and the reality of everyday life as an American living in France. As I stepped out onto the beaches of Deauville, I couldn't help but smile at the irony. Here I was, a former teacher from Georgia, strolling along the sands like a silver-screened starlet. This wasn't quite the France I had imagined when I packed up my life and moved across the Atlantic. But oh, how delightfully unexpected it was. The Deauville beach stretched out before me, a vast expanse of golden sand meeting the steely blue waters of the English Channel. It was a far cry from the sun-drenched Mediterranean beaches I had daydreamed about. Yet, I found myself falling in love with this wilder, more dramatic coastline. I had come to France seeking the picture-perfect scenes from postcards and films, but Normandy, and Deauville in particular, was teaching me a valuable lesson. The France I was discovering was far more nuanced, far more interesting than the one-dimensional fantasy I had constructed in my mind. Deauville has long been a haven for the chic Parisian set, a place where the well-heeled come to escape the city's hustle and bustle. The town's history is steeped in the golden age of French cinema. With its perfect blend of elegance and seaside charm, Deauville has given me my first true lesson in French living. It had taught me to look beyond my preconceptions, to embrace the unexpected, and to find beauty in the many facets of this complex and captivating country. As I stepped onto the cobblestone streets of Honfleur, the Vieux Bassin, Honfleur's old harbor, stretched before me like a canvas come to life. Tall, narrow houses and palette of slate grays, warm ochres, and muted pastels stood shoulder to shoulder, their reflections shimmering in the water. Fishing boats and pleasure yachts bobbed gently in the marina, a testament to the town's enduring maritime heritage. As I made my way towards the Église Sainte-Catherine, its separate bell tower, a quirky remnant of maritime superstition, I found myself reflecting on the experiences that had brought me to this moment. The church, with its double nave and wooden vaulted ceiling reminiscent of an overturned ship's hull, stood as a metaphor for my journey, a structure of faith and tradition, reimagined and adapted to its unique circumstances. Honfleur, I realized, was both a confirmation and a contradiction of my French fantasy. Its beauty was undeniable, a postcard-perfect slice of Normandy that seemed to exist outside of time. Yet, as I observed the locals going about their daily lives, I was struck by the ordinariness that punctuated the extraordinary. This was not the France of endless cafe afternoons and spontaneous countryside picnics I had imagined, but a living, breathing place where real people led real lives. I felt a profound sense of gratitude, for while France had not been exactly what I had expected, it had given me something far more valuable: the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to see the world through new eyes. Honfleur was a reminder that the true magic of this journey lay not in fulfilling a predetermined dream, but in being open to the surprise and lessons that each day brought.
The essential piece of French culture is fashion. So I simply must tell you all about the incredible Vogue World event that just took place. It was a celebration of Paris as the home of haute couture and the future 2024 Olympics. The The event paid homage to the Parisian fashion houses, with each decade paired to a sport. Courtiers in their classic white coats had front seats, and the guests were treated by dancing waiters with wine on silver platters, each one representing a classic Parisian cafe. My personal favorite era of the fashion show was the 1920s segment, honoring cycling and the Tour de France, with models wearing Chanel dresses that graced the pages of Vogue in 1924, and a powerful statement against ageism when an older woman confidently walked the runway in a timeless black Chanel suit with a white camellia. Next came the 1930s, Balenciaga track and field look. It was a dazzling display look. There were so many enchanting details, like the 1940s bikinis. Do you know that the bikini was once so scandalous that the models refused to wear it? So they had to bring in cabaret dancers to replace them. The 1950s was inspired by the equestrian, which I also love, incorporating the classic Dior bar suit. Gigi Hadid and Kendall Jenner strutted the runway from head to toe in Hermes, as the horses, who were especially brought down from Normandy. Next came the 1960s space age design of Paco Rabanne, and the 1970s brought Studio 54 with glamour and paid tribute to the Battle of Versailles, which was an evening organized to raise funds to restore Louis XIV's palace. Americans had 11 black models, which became an icon in fashion. In 1980s were channeled by the Japanese avant-garde, designers with oversized Saint Laurent blazers featuring Sylvia from Emily in Paris. For the 1990s, it was all about football. Proper football lovelies, not the American kind. And the 2000s served up Serena and Venus Williams inspired tennis looks. Finally, the 2010 brought us breakdancing and the finale, and a glorious French flag dress worn by Marie-José Perret. The French flag is such an important part of the culture. What do you think the colors mean? Blue and red symbolizes the colors of Paris, and the white symbolizes the color of the French monarchy. I was so inspired that I decided to recreate my own French flag look as a tribute to the Vogue world and Bastille Day, which was July 14th. Fashion truly is a team sport, and Vogue won a gold medal performance. I'm so glad that the proceeds are going to equip young French athletes, and I'm glad I got to share it with you. I love this French culture, and I love this country, and I'm so fortunate to call it my home.
Bonjour. Today we're embarking on a very special journey together. Can you believe it? It's Bastille Day, and I'm about to show you how we celebrate it in style. First, let me tell you a bit about Bastille Day. It's celebrated on July 14th and commemorates the storming of the Bastille prison in 1789, a pivotal event in the French Revolution. The French call it La Fête Nationale. Now let's talk about my outfit for this special day. The foundation of my ensemble is a crisp white dress. It's simple, elegant, and perfect for the summer heat we often experience on Bastille Day. The white symbolizes the first color of the French flag, representing the monarchy that once ruled France. And since I'm going to be celebrating Bastille Day at Versailles, where the monarchy once lived, I thought it would just be perfect. To add the other colors of the flag, I'm wearing a beautiful silk scarf with red, white, and blue. It's not just fashionable, it's a nod to the tricolor and the values it represents: liberty, equality, and fraternity. On my feet, I've chosen my navy blue Vivea flats. I love these shoes, not just for their comfort and style, but also because they're sustainable. Made from recycled materials, they remind me that we can look good while also being mindful of our environmental impact. The navy blue adds the final color of the French flag to my outfit. As I get ready, I can't help but reflect on how meaningful it is to celebrate Bastille Day as a resident rather than a tourist. It's a day that reminds us of the power of unity and the importance of standing up for our beliefs.
This is Janice and France, Unscripted, where I compiled some of your most pressing questions. I have a list here that I'm going to ask Janice. She does not know what any of these questions are, no prepared responses. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we're just gonna go through these pretty quickly. Just say kind of whatever pops into your head. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in Fontainebleau?
Other than take Max out, I go to the bathroom and I put on my cream and my lipstick.
All right. Cafe creme or espresso?
Oh, cafe creme.
What is your go-to French phrase?
Oh, on y va. On y va, on y va, on y va.
How many times have you visited the Eiffel Tower since moving to France?
Never. Oh, no, never. I went on a big red bus tour, but I didn't go to the tower, no.
What's the biggest misconception Americans have about French life?
Well, I think a lot of people think the life is kind of like c'est la vie. You know, everybody's walking around and it's wonderful and nobody cares about anything, and that's not true. They're very much into their family, their holidays, spending time with family. So I think that's a big misconception.
Mm-hmm. What is always in your purse, the most important thing?
Lipstick.
How do you say y'all in French, since you're from the South?
Vous?
Well, I wouldn't really say that's y'all. Vous is more a traditional, like, proper way of saying you.
I wouldn't say y'all here.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I don't really think
okay.
there is a way.
No.
There's tu, which is
Right.
more informal for
Right.
like friends and family,
And
and there's
vous,
vous.
the formal, but no. Vous, y'all, no.
Nous, that's us. What is the best advice you've received from a French person?
To enjoy life.
That's important. What is your favorite French beauty product?
Oh, by far, I have this cream that gets rid of these little splotches. I use it every day.
Like discoloration?
Yeah, discoloration. Mm-hmm.
Do you know the name of it or the brand?
Bioderm.
Oh, okay. They have very
And
good products.
it is, I found it at the drugstore. It's just a little pump.
Mhm.
You just put a little bit, and I noticed after 3 days, my dark spots were already going away
Yes. And there's Max scratching on the floor.
for some reason.
So for anybody who wants to get Janice's Bioderm favorite product, if you are in France and you see a big green cross sign, that's a pharmacy, you can get some great skincare products.
They have a lot of Bioderm products.
We'll have to do a skincare routine so
Oh,
that people
that'd
can
be
see what
lovely,
you use,
yeah.
because you look beautiful. And
Oh,
everyone's always
thank you.
asking, how do you do it? All right, what is your secret for navigating French bureaucracy?
You just have to be patient and a sense of humor.
That is really good because I find that I get too stressed out, so a sense of humor is
No,
important.
because I have found out if I had let the bureaucracy stop me, I would have never made it to France because there's a tremendous amount of paperwork and items that you have to show and go through just to get your visa. So you just have to be patient and smile and have a great attitude. And when you find it's getting too much, step away.
Mm-hmm. How has your style evolved since moving to France?
I dress more like I like to dress. I dress up more. You won't find me in a pair of blue jean shorts going to town.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right here, Max. I'm right here. Lipstick is always on. Hair is always brushed. Although the French have a fabulous flair for letting their hair just go, and it just seems like it does very well with them, where I am very, but I won't go into town unless I'm dressed up. I mean, this is not dressed up, but this is how I would go into town if I were going somewhere. Thank you.
It's comfortable but chic.
Yes.
That's the key to French style.
And I always wear a scarf, not so much in the summer, but always in the winter.
Any particular material that's your favorite?
No, it just depends on the weather.
How often do you visit Paris?
Lately it's been about once a week.
Any particular thing that you enjoy doing the most when you go?
The most wonderful thing I enjoy is going to Paris and going to the Le Train Bleu and meeting friends for coffee. And they could be friends that live here or friends that have come over to visit that want to meet with me, like a meetup.
Mm-hmm. How do you stay connected with your daughter?
Every day we talk. Every day we text. And most of the time it's video.
What is your favorite French dessert?
Citron.
Like a tart citron?
Yes, the tart citron.
Yeah, those are delicious. And with the meringue on top.
I don't care about the meringue. I just
love
like
the meringue.
I just like that lemony tartness.
How do you combat homesickness?
Well, people are going to find this very unusual, but I don't get homesickness. I get Jennifer sickness.
Mm-hmm. Jennifer's her daughter.
Right. I don't get homesickness.
Mm-hmm. How has your perception of time changed in France?
Well, unless it is something to do with my videos, that I have to be on time, there's a schedule. I wake up when I want to wake up. I go for my walk after I take Max out and put my skin cream on and have my cup of coffee. It's just more relaxed. But then again, I seem to have a lot more things. I'm trying to write a book. I'm trying to work with the YouTube. I follow your instructions, what to do for the day sometimes. So it isn't so different, but I find it more fulfilling.
Mm-hmm. And here, in America, something that I find that's very popular is the 5 a.m. wake-up schedule. If you want to be productive and successful, you have to wake up at 5 a.m. But here, that's just not the case. Like today, we went out filming. We had a late night last night, so we decided to sleep in a little bit, and we still got everything done, and we're just as productive.
Well, also, I worked for 25 years as a teacher. I woke up in the dark. I drove to school in the dark. And I promised myself once I retired, I was not going to wake up until it was light outside.
Mm-hmm. What is your favorite French designer?
Oh, Chanel.
Classic.
Absolutely.
Timeless. What is your favorite season in France?
Fall.
Who is your favorite French artist?
This is interesting that you bring this up because I had a friend take me to Picasso's museum.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never been because I'd never been interested in Picasso's art because I like more the Impressionist.
Mm-hmm.
But I found this art gallery so interesting because it talked about his life and it showed videos of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And I really started to appreciate his work more. But when it comes down to it, for putting art in my home, it would have to be any of the Impressionists.
How do you stay inspired for your writing?
Well, there are days that I don't stay inspired. It's just that I have this burning inside of me that wants to write, and I've always been like that. So some days it's better than others, and some days I get more written than other days, but I've just always had not the time, but I've always had the yearning to write.
What is the best advice you'd give somebody who's moving to France?
Be careful to make sure you do all the research you can, and make sure that you visit wherever you're wanting to move, and absolutely try to downplay the romanticism of moving here. I mean, it's great, but as we will go into one of our other YouTubes later on, you can really have some downtime here, because you romanticize how everything's supposed to be, and then you get here and not quite as romantic as you thought. So kind of downplay and be more realistic.
Because it's still real life. It's not Disney World.
Still real life. People get sick. We have good days, bad days.
How do you maintain your Southern charm in France?
I think that is something that I was brought up with, and I don't think it could leave me if I had to. I don't think it would matter what country I lived in.
What is your favorite French etiquette rule?
I love eating a hamburger with a fork and a knife, and I love eating pizza with a fork and a knife. I know we don't do that all the time, but I love that, because it just shows that you slow down to eat it. We're not just shoving it in our face.
And lastly, what is the best thing about being Janice in France?
First of all, I get to be me. Second of all, I get to meet so many lovely women, and I've met a few men that have come over with their families, and I think that is the best, when I get to meet people and I get to connect with people.
Well, thank you for your time, Janice, and thank you for answering all of your community's most pressing questions.
And thank you.
As I stand in the magnificent Gardens of Versailles, I am struck by how much this place mirrors my own journey in France. The grandeur of it all, the perfectly symmetrical flower beds, the towering topiaries, the glittering fountains once felt as foreign to me as the rapid-fire French I heard on the streets of Paris. But it's the Bosquet de la Salle de Bal, the outdoor ballroom, that truly captures my attention today. This sunken garden, with its cascading steps forming a horseshoe around a central floor, seems to whisper tales of courtly dances and clandestine meetings. I can't help but reflect on my own dance of adaptation to French life. When I first arrived in France, I was like a seedling transplanted into foreign soil. The culture, the language, the daily rhythms of life, all were new and often overwhelming. I felt as out of place as a wildflower might in these meticulously planned gardens. But like the plants here, I too began to put down roots, slowly but surely. The tiered steps of the ballroom remind me of the stages of my adaptation. The first step was the hardest, leaving behind the familiar comforts of my American life. Each subsequent step brought new challenges, navigating the bureaucracy, mastering the art of la bise, learning to appreciate the leisurely pace of a 3-hour dinner. But with each challenge overcome, I found myself descending further into the heart of French culture. Like a courtier, learning the intricate steps of a minuet, I learned to move with more grace through my new life. The language that once seemed an impenetrable barrier began to flow more freely from my lips. The customs that once felt strange became second nature. The gardens, so formal and imposing, now seem softer, more welcoming. I realize that my perception of France has undergone a similar transformation. What once seemed intimidating in its foreignness now feels like home. And isn't that what adaptation is all about? Finding your place, playing your part in the grand design of a new culture? Like the careful integration of art and nature in those gardens, I've learned to blend my American roots with my French present, creating a life that is uniquely, beautifully mine. As I make my way back through the gardens, I feel a profound sense of peace. The journey hasn't always been easy, but like these centuries-old gardens, I have grown, adapted, and flourished in many ways I never could have imagined. My life in France, like the Gardens of Versailles, has become a masterpiece of personal cultivation, a testament to the beauty that can emerge when we allow ourselves to be transformed by new experiences. The familiar jingle of the door greets me as I step into the Stray Bean, my favorite coffee shop in Versailles. It's 9:30 a.m. and the cozy space is alive with the gentle hum of conversation and the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee. I settled into my preferred spot and pulled out my laptop, ready to dive into today's Substack post. As I sip my coffee and begin to type, I can't help but marvel at how this scene, me, a single American woman, writing in a French cafe, has become my new normal. 2 years ago, this would have been a dream. Now, it's just another Tuesday. As inspiration takes hold, I begin to craft my latest article. Today, I'm writing about my expectations of France versus the reality that I think many of you could relate to. Before I know it, it's nearly lunchtime. I put the finishing touches on my Substack post, feeling a sense of satisfaction as I hit publish. As I pack up my things, I reflect on how this simple routine, writing at the Stray Bean, encapsulates so much of what I love about my life in France. The sense of community, the blend of productivity and pleasure, the daily small adventures in language and culture.
Over breakfast, I was just reading an article on Condé Nast Traveler that inspired me to do some of my own research. So I have decided to share some of my insider secrets with you about the art of getting your U.S. passport as quickly as possible. Picture this. You are only days away from your dream vacation when you suddenly realize that your passport has expired or gone missing. This happened to my friend's sister last year. She was on her way to the airport when she finally looked at her passport and she noticed it was 3 days expired. Oh my gosh, all of the drama. Life gets busy and sometimes we overlook these crucial details. But fear not. Inspired by a charming article by Anya Meyerowitz on speedy passport acquisitions in the UK, which I've linked below for my UK audiences, I've done some sleuthing to create a guide for my US audience that is now available on my website, janiceandfrance.com, and on my Substack, Janice and France. Now we know that applying for a passport can sometimes be an endless paperwork, but trust me, it will all be part of the adventure of traveling. And when you're holding that gleaming passport in your hand, ready to explore the world, it is a feeling that is simply divine. So, here is how quickly you can obtain a passport in the US that you can get in a matter of weeks or possibly days. There are insider travel secrets that not many people know about, or else everyone would be rushing to do this. One of the best options that I go into in my new article, which is open to everyone, you don't need an emergency to qualify. It is called Urgent Travel and perfect for those of you that may have forgotten to look at your passport expiration date, or maybe you just need one for a spontaneous trip. A key tip that most people don't know, that your passport needs to be valid for 3 months post your travel date. So for example, say I'm traveling August 1st, 2024. That means the soonest that my passport expiration date can show is November 2024. And all you need is proof of travel. Just show your airline ticket. The passport application is not always a fairy tale, but it's a necessary chapter in your story of your adventure. And trust me, every step is worth it when you're exploring the charming cafes of Paris or walking the cobblestone streets of a quaint French village. Before I leave for cocktails at the Talleyrand Hotel, that's where the Marshall Plan was created after World War II to assist the European nations. I want to remind you that it's never too late to start a new chapter in life. If you've been inspired by my story and are considering moving to another country, please check out my second release of my sold-out limited edition ebook, The Ultimate Guide to Moving Abroad and How I Started a New Life in France in my 70s. Visit janiceandfrance.com/ebook to get your copy now and unlock those secrets of making your dream a reality. For those of you planning a trip to France, don't forget to read my article on how to get that passport fast and discover my inside recommendations for truly experiencing France, not as a tourist, but as a local. Explore janiceandfrance.com/article and my Substack, Janice and France. Before we say au revoir, I have an exciting announcement in my next video. I'm going to be discussing some controversial topics, such as my experience in dating in France, my honest opinion about Emily in Paris, and my personal struggle with self-confidence. You're not going to want to miss it. Lastly, I would like to extend to you an invitation to join my exclusive community, the Société, to experience even more of Janice and France, including insider events, both physical and virtual. Connect with like-minded individuals, share your experiences, and gain valuable insights for navigating this incredible journey together. Remember, your story does matter. And until then, I love you. Au revoir.